Coming to your mat in a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Putting one hand to the belly and one hand to the heart, and beginning to breathe, feeling the rise and the fall of the chest and the belly. Settling in, finding the rhythm of your breath, feeling gravity pulling you down into the mat. Beginning to open up through the body with a couple subtle adjustments. Taking the hands to the knees, we take a big breath and begin to circle our body, our chest coming over and back and over and back. In Sufi grind, matching your breath to the movement in your own timing. In these sequences, we take our time to ground down into the posture. So we'll be taking 10 breaths in each movement. And when you're ready, you can reverse the circle, chest over legs, and sinking back, matching the movement with your breath. Taking your time, feeling into the hips as we begin this series. With about 10 breaths on either side, go ahead and uncross the legs and find your way into butterfly position, rocking forward and back with your breath, feeling the edges of your comfort in this position. Maybe moving the legs out farther. And if you want to go deeper, coming into turtle, slipping the hands under the legs and bowing down if that feels comfortable. If that's a bit too much for you, you can always use a prop, a bolster right underneath your belly, up against your hips to lay on top of and give yourself a little bit of a lift in this posture. Breathing into the back, into the hips. Allowing the hips to open slowly with every breath and letting gravity pull you in deeper. When you're ready to come out, go ahead and slip one arm first and then the other, putting the palms into the earth to push your body back up. Then bringing the knees together and having the hands just below the kneecaps, arching the spine backward, chin to chest. And then inhaling, opening up, arching the back. And exhaling, rounding the spine. Inhaling, opening up, gaze to the sky. And exhaling, rounding back. Allowing the arch in the spine to wake up all the way from your neck to your hips. Feeling your chest open on the inhales and allowing those shoulder blades to roll over on the exhales. Going at your own pace and at the rhythm of your own breath. Taking your time to explore your spine and your hips. Go ahead and make your way onto all fours, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, moving back and around and forward in hip circles. Moving with your breath, inhaling over the hands and exhaling back into child's pose as your hips touch your heels. Going around slowly, exploring the edges of your comfort and the edges of your movement. maybe with time, finding that when you're coming forward, you're almost coming into up dog, and as you go back almost all the way into child's pose, slowing down the breath as you move through these postures. And when you're ready, switching directions, coming forward over the hands, back towards the heels, and forward over the hands, matching your breath with the movement. This is great for checking in with the edges of where your femur head meets your hip sockets. Breathing with the movement. And when you're ready, falling back, resting into child's pose before arching your back up and flipping your hips and your head up for cat and cow. Arching the back up, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin, and then relaxing, inhaling. Moving back and forth like a wave with the breath. Inhaling, opening through the stomach, tailbone, and gaze up. And then tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin, arching back up on the exhale. Matching this movement with your breath. We'll do this for 10 breaths. Exploring how slowly you can go, how much you can feel with your muscles rippling open, tucking the toes, reaching the hips back, coming into down dog, letting the spine cascade down, exploring maybe walking the dog out, seeing how it feels to tap your heels down to the mat, seeing how good it feels to bend the knees towards the chest and the abdomen. And taking the toes together and the heels outward in a V. Go ahead and explore how that feels in your hips to have your feet at this angle. Bending the knees if you need to, if the stretch is a little bit much, to get your hips a little bit higher in the air. Exploring by pulsing up and down with the heels. And we breathe. And taking the toes apart and the heels together. Doing the same thing, bending the knees if you need to. Exploring how it feels to have your feet at this angle, pumping the heels up and down. Letting the hips keep reaching for the sky. Letting your spine cascade down. Letting the head hang heavy. Bringing the knees down to mat. Coming onto your feet. In this low squat. With your heels up or down, whatever's comfortable for you when we bring our hands together to heart center. And if you need, placing a bolster underneath your butt to keep yourself supported. Making sure that our feet are properly wide enough or narrow enough to feel comfortable. Breathing here to open up the hips. And then placing the fingertips on the ground, dipping one knee and then another in a sort of duck walk. matching the movement with your breath. As long as this is good on your knees, go ahead and take this movement about 10 dips to each side. Feeling how good it feels to move your hips inside of your hip sockets this way. And then taking one foot long out to the side and engaging through the toes and maybe pointing and flexing, opening up the hip to this one side. If you need to be up higher, you can put a block under your hips to support you. Then we switch to the other side, pointing and flexing the toes on this side, opening up through the hips. And we breathe. And coming back to your seat, maybe crossing your legs in the opposite direction, getting comfortable. We'll go ahead and take one hand behind us, cross the other hand over to the knee, take a gentle twist to the side, taking your gaze if it's comfortable, and breathing here, letting your breath expand the movement, twisting through the spine, letting your breath rise and fall in your body. And when you're ready, breathing to the center, taking your twist to the opposite side. One hand behind you, one hand over the knee, taking the gaze over to the opposite side. And we breathe here, letting your breath open through the chest. And when you're ready, unraveling, and taking one foot out to the side. Go ahead and find a comfortable space and take hands to either side of the leg to begin to hinge forward over that leg, keeping engaged through the foot and breathing as far down as you feel good. Maybe if you have space and it's available to you, taking your elbows all the way down to the ground. Gently pressing the hands back up through the center. And taking a twist in the opposite direction, hand to knee that's bent, and hand behind the body. Taking the gaze over the shoulder, and we breathe. Maintaining that engagement in the extended leg. We breathe. Unraveling that twist, pulling in the extended leg and switching your other leg into extension. Go ahead and take your hands to either side of that extended leg and begin to hinge forward at the hips, coming down as far as feels good for your body. If you want a little bit of support, you can always add a pillow or a folded up blanket underneath your elbows for a little bit of support in this fold. And when you're ready, begin to press your way up. And take your twist to the opposite direction, hand over to bent knee, and your other hand behind your body supporting your twist, taking your gaze over the opposite shoulder, engaging through that foot that's still extended. When you're ready to unwind the twist, you're going to spread both legs out in front of you, shake them out for a moment before you take one leg over and wrap the opposite arm around, taking a twist off to the opposite edge. That might be enough for you, or you can come into cow face pose, wrapping that extended leg around this bent knee. And continue your twist. Breathing into this knee bent across your stomach. And feeling a deep stretch in your hip socket as you breathe here. And when you're ready, unwinding both legs and switching one leg bent over this extended leg, taking the opposite elbow around that bent knee and taking your gaze and your twist in the opposite direction. You can leave it there, or you can go a little bit further into cow face pose, deepening this stretch in your hips and breathing, feeling the rise and the fall of your belly into your thigh. When you're ready to unwind, take both feet in front of you and go ahead and shake them out, placing both feet on the ground, windshield wipering to both sides. Letting your hips relax as you're supporting your body with your hands right behind you, side to side. Beginning to match your breath to this movement and slowing it down. When you're ready, come onto your back, tucking the knees into your chest, giving yourself a big hug, and rocking side to side, feeling the base of your sacrum on the ground, giving it a little massage. And when you're ready, begin to move the knees in a circle, as if you're drawing circles on the ceiling. And we'll do this 10 times in one direction, going slowly. Feeling this gentle massage on your low back. Breathing here with the movement. And after 10 breaths, taking your circles in the opposite direction, drawing circles on the ceiling with your knees, matching the motion with your breath, going for about 10 circles in this direction. And after this 10th circle, we'll go ahead and give ourselves one last squeeze before we put our feet down on the mat, crossing one foot over to the knee that's bent. Maybe here is good for you, or you can gently push against your knee, opening it up in the supine pigeon. Or if you want to go deeper, you can wrap your hands around your thigh. If you want to go even more, you can keep one hand wrapped around the thigh while you press the opposite knee away. And we breathe here in any of the variations that I described for you, whatever feels good for your body. Breathing into the hip opening of this supine pigeon. feeling the breath rise and fall. Go ahead and take your knees off to one side, the side that's bent across, for a little bit of a stretch in one direction, and then take that stretch to the opposite side, twisting, placing that foot on the ground. And breathing here, and when you're ready, unhooking the foot from the knee and going to the opposite foot, pressing the knee out. If that feels good for you on this new side, go ahead and tug the thigh with the hands if that's good for your body. Breathing here, and this hip opener on the other side. And when you're ready, relaxing and letting gravity do some work here. Taking a twist off to the side of the bent knee just for a moment before you take the twist to the other side. Planting that foot down on the ground if that's good for you. Relaxing into this twist. And breathing. And unwinding the legs. Go ahead and flex them up towards the sky before you give yourself another big hug. Spreading the arms out in a T. And getting ready to twist by nudging your hips over to one side and dropping your knees down in the opposite direction. Having a blanket or a pillow accessible if that helps. Taking your gaze in the opposite direction. And breathing here in this twist. We'll take about 10 breaths on this side, letting the hips really open up. This restorative pose utilizes gravity and your body weight to release deeper into your twist. When you're ready to come out, opening into your T, pulling up on that top leg, and scooching your hips over to the opposite direction, taking your twist in the opposite way. Letting your gaze follow over the extended arm. And breathing here. In these restorative poses, we're encouraged to fully let go and to release into the tiny moments that make up this stretch. Noticing how your breath changes the stretch over time, how gravity affects the stretch over time. Maybe noticing tiny, minute, incremental changes in the way that your body relaxes into these postures as we breathe. When you're ready to release, bending that top knee and bringing yourself back to center. Doing one last big overhead stretch. And eventually making your way into one last child's pose. Taking the hips all the way back to the heels and letting your body relax in this gentle forward fold. If you'd like an extra stretch in your shoulders, you can take your palms facing each other in a prayer posture and stretching them back towards your shoulder blades. And when you're ready, coming forward onto your forearms and taking your hips up in a modified dolphin pose before we come back to center into a comfortable seated position. One hand to the belly, one hand to the heart, feeling the rise and the fall of the breath in the body. Returning to this place where we began, noticing how the mind feels, how the body feels. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you take this piece with you.